next in our feature presentation. We have got a doozy on tap tonight here at Citizens Bank Park. It's game 2 between the Diamondbacks and the Phillies, but it's Dan Herron for the D-backs, and Cliff Lee takes the baseball for the Phils. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Gary Matthews will be along in just a little bit. Well, both of these starting pitchers, no doubt, Wheels, had great success in the American League, and as it turns out, they're enjoying the National League style just as well.
Well, they're good pitchers, Tom. You pitch in one league, you pitch in the other league. You would think that's the way it goes. And in the case of these two guys, they are both outstanding. They had good careers in the American League, and now over in the National League, they're also really good. That are the American League totals right there for Dan Herron and Cliff Lee. A 4 ERA in the American League in that many games, that's really good. And you see 83 and 48 for Lee. Great job for Dan Herron when he was with Oakland. And in his last start against the Los Angeles Dodgers, he had struggled a little bit for a while, but this game he was right there with all his pitches. Great split finger fastball, throws it right there. Good fastball and a good breaking ball, too. And this guy is a strikeout pitcher, and he can crank up a good one at any time. Cliff Lee, well, he's just been tremendous in his 3 starts for the Phillies. He has a tremendous ability to move the ball in and out. The first pitch you saw there was in, then out, then one right down the middle. He seems to have hitters look in different areas, and he always seems to go in a different spot, and he's right on the corners. He also has an outstanding changeup he can go to if he needs that, if his cutter and slider and fastball are off a little bit, and he did that in his second start. In the National League, now Herron was with the Cardinals for a little while, and of course with Arizona for the last couple of years. Those are his numbers. Cliff Lee, well, he hasn't been in this league very long, but he's been pretty good, and on paper, this is a heck of a matchup.
Well, Cliff Lee, 3 complete games in his last 6 outings. He has won 6 consecutive ball games, counting the 3, his last 3, with the Cleveland Indians. So it's Cliff Lee for the Phillies. Dan Herron, meanwhile, will take the baseball for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hey, offensively, Jason Worth has reached a number of career highs, including last night. He hit his 25th home run of the season. That's a career high. We'll get to the starting lineups when we return. Augie Ojeda, the third baseman, bats second. Stephen Drew drops down to the number 3 spot. Mark Reynolds, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Rusty Ryle hits number 5. Trent Olchin, the center fielder, bats 6th. Chris Snyder does the catching. He'll hit 7th. Alex Romero bats 8th, and batting 9th at pitching is right-hander Dan Herron. And they will face lefty Cliff Lee, making his 4th start in the Phillies uniform. 3-0 in the National League with a 1.13 ERA.
It really hasn't faced so many left-handed hitters. They mostly right-handed hitters, just like what the D-backs are going to do against him tonight with only Stephen Drew in the lineup from the left side. The opposition just hitting 193. Cliff has already piled up 24 innings in his 3 starts with the Phillies, and that's his repertoire right there. He works fast, throws a lot of strikes, and he uses that slider and cutter really, really well against the right-handed hitters.
And he was out here very quickly to loosen up out on a very hot night here in Philadelphia. And they'll face Ryan Roberts to start things off. Roberts overall hitting .281 with 5 homers and 14 RBIs. He was 2 for 4 in last night's ball game. It's had a pretty good run over the last dozen or so games. Here comes the first pitch of the night. And it's taken a little high, and we're underway. And the count is 1 ball, no strikes. This is game 3 of a 10-game road trip for the Diamondbacks. Roberts 3 for 5 in the first 2 games. It started with that single game against the Braves, a makeup, and then last night's ball game here in Philadelphia. 2-0 the count to Roberts. And that's a strike on the outside corner. Cliff Lee has won 6 consecutive games, and during that span, he's allowed just 7 earned runs in 49 innings of work.
He gave up a run in the only game he's pitched here in Philadelphia in the first inning on a sacrifice fly to Colorado, and that was it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's more impressive, the fact that he only has allowed 7 earned runs during those 6 starts, or the fact that he's thrown 49 innings during those 6 starts. That's pretty good. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ryan Roberts.
He throws a lot of strikes. He really moves the ball in and out on the hitters. So, you know, he's not a guy you necessarily think is going to have a real high pitch count because of foul balls, but you know, right out of the chute here, Roberts is battling him pretty good.
Versus the National League, very good record, 15-2 with a 2.89 ERA, and he's got a strikeout to start this one off.
Well, that was a changeup we talked about in the opening that he will come up with and use after he throws a lot of those cutters. Time now for our Key State Chrysler Jeep Keys to tonight's game on a muggy night in South Philadelphia. No trouble getting loose for anybody tonight. Well, on paper, this is one of those great pitching matchups. We'll see. The Diamondbacks, they just struggle on defense. So you want to force them into making plays. And, you know, they have a chance to throw it all over the place.
Yeah, last night they kind of did that. In fact, during last night's ball game, they committed their 99th error of the season. And A.J. Hinch, who took over on May 8th for the Diamondbacks, facing Charlie Manuel, who he played for in 2005 here in Philadelphia. 1-1 the count to Augie Ojeda.
Augie Ojeda getting a start tonight at third base. They move Reynolds over to first, even though he has played. This will be the 24th game for Mark Reynolds at first base. But they're trying to get as many right-handed hitters in the lineup as possible. Their bench is all left-handed, 4 left-handed hitters. And just 4, as Will said, so not a whole lot of depth off that bench. 2 away, and a good pitch from Cliff Lee. He came inside to Ojeda. And that'll bring Stephen Drew to the plate. Lee isn't like some left-handers you think about, like an Al Leiter comes to mind, Danny Jackson. They just pound right-handed hitters in. He pounds them in, but he gets away. He goes away with them, too. And that's where I think they really have trouble picking up a pattern on this guy. He's made 1 appearance against the Diamondbacks during his career. It was just a 5-inning outing. He wound up getting the win, but he allowed some runs. Facing Stephen Drew. There have only been 2 players that the Diamondbacks have on their 40-man roster who have faced Cliff Lee. One of them is Eric Burns, who's rehabbing right now. The other one is Chris Snyder. 2-0 the count to Drew. Well, that game you mentioned, Tommy, he only pitched 5 innings in that game because he had such a big lead. Right. He did give up some runs, but they took him out. There is Snyder, the catcher. Yeah, Snyder's 0 for 3 against Cliff Lee. 2-0 the count to Drew. And that misses wide. 3-0. This guy's a little bit like his brother J.D. and then he has a good eye. There's Reynolds, a power hitter on deck. But Stephen Drew does work counts.
That's what he did last night in the first inning against Pedro Martinez, one of the old goats that pitched here.
That was Pedro's turn.
Yeah,
right?
that was Pedro's turn.
We don't want to call him and Jamie old goats, especially one of us who's older than both of them.
Well, I'm older than one of them.
Yeah, you are.
Good pitch, 3-2.
Boy, that is either a cutter or slider. It's hard to tell the difference. You know, a slider's going to have a little more tilt to it, and that may have been a slider. But boy, he got him to pull off then.
Roller toward first base. Easy play for Ryan Howard. So a strikeout and 2 groundouts, and Cliff Lee works a 1-2-3 top of the first. We head to the bottom of the first. It's the D-backs nothing. The Phillies coming up. Ryan Howard hitless last night, but he's had a pretty good run over the last 7 or 8 ball games. Jason Worth bats 5th. He's in right field. Raul Ibanez, the left fielder, hits 6th. Pedro Feliz bats 7th. Hitting 8th and doing the catching is Paul Bacco. And batting 9th, of course, and pitching is Lee. And they will face right-hander Dan Herron. 25th start, 12-7 with a 2.50 ERA. And those are pretty impressive numbers for a guy who's pitching for a team that's 12 games under 500.
6'5", big guy, 28 years old, turned 29 later in the year. And as Tom mentioned, those are good numbers. There are the scouting report from Southwest Airlines. He had a real good earned run average. He has a real good earned run average, but in August he struggled a little bit. But he was very good in his last outing. He has an unbelievable split finger fastball when he gets ahead of hitters, and he'll strike you out with it.
Jimmy Rollins leads things off, and he takes one high. Jimmy overall hitting .242, 15 home runs, 57 RBIs. He was 1 for 5 in last night's ball game. Jimmy over his last 14 games has driven in 11 runs. And he's had good numbers against the Diamondbacks in just 50 games. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Kelly Portland of Yardley, PA. If the Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, then Kelly will win $100. Curveball high, 3-1. Herron does not walk a lot of guys. He's walked just 25 in 169 innings of work. As Victorino waits on deck. And Jimmy gets one in on the hands, and he loops it toward right center field. And Olsen makes the grab, 1 away. During the 2009 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Not a bad night to get some Grand Slam ice cream, Will.
This is an ice cream night, Tom.
Yep. It would melt within a matter of minutes, but it is still an ice cream night.
It'll be all over your hand in a hurry.
There's Shane Victorino, who's got a 6-game hitting streak going. 314 overall, but hitting .421 over his last 40 games here at Citizens Bank Park. I mean, think about that. The Phillies are 30-29 here in Philadelphia. And over the last 40 or so games, Shane is hitting over .420.
Aaron throwing fastball and curveball so far. He's not thrown that changeup yet, or that splitter, which he uses as a changeup. He'll also throw a straight change, but the split is the one that is his strikeout pitch. And when he gets that thing going, he can really be difficult. Here it comes right now. Wouldn't Victorino like to know that? We're lucky enough to see that center field camera and see the catcher Snyder wiggle the fingers, and that's going to be a splitter.
You see his splits: 6-5 at home, 6-2 on the road. Better ERA at home. And Shane stays alive, and the count remains no balls and 2 strikes.
One of the trademarks of Dan Herron, you always know that it's Herron when you see him, is the way he hesitates in his delivery. That is just something that obviously he's comfortable with, and then he kind of jumps at the hitter a little bit with really plus stuff.
I think the hesitation is, more now than it was when he was with the Cardinals, and even the first time he was with the Oakland A's that first year. There's a pop up to shallow left center field. Roberts, and a lot of times it can be an adventure for Roberts. He makes the grab, 2 away.
Well, he jammed 2 straight left-handed hitters, the first 2 hitters of the game, with fastballs.
Ryan Roberts making just his 6th start out in left field.
Watch him get in on Shane Victorino here. I think it was intentional. Well, now when you look at that, I saw where the catcher was set up. I thought he got in, but it was actually more away, and he just kind of served it out there, a high fly ball to left field.
2 outs now for Chase Utley. Chase is hitless in 6 official at bats against Dan Herron, and it's something that he's done a lot of this year. He's walked twice against him. In fact, Chase walked twice last night, was hit by a pitch, and it was 1 for 2 overall. One ball, 1 strike the count. Chase is starting to heat up a little bit. 7 for his last 20. His on base percentage has been so good this entire year. And he pulls that one. Diving stop by Reynolds, and he just tosses a grenade over to first base, and Herron had no chance. Talk about short arming a ball.
Well, he's a third baseman. He never played first base, evidently, until Hinch came over. And then Hinch decided to let him play some first base while they would do some other things at third. And he made a terrific play, but then he didn't finish it. Here's the look. He's a third baseman. He's used to diving for balls in the hole. So he dives, but he has a much shorter throw. And as Tom called it, a grenade bar of soap. I love those expressions. Either or, he gave Herron no chance and was backed up nicely by the catcher Snyder.
Did a good job getting to it. The ball just jarred loose, and then he just couldn't get a handle on it. There's Ryan Howard. Diamondbacks have a first baseman who they acquired from the White Sox by the name of Brandon Allen, who they think will be their everyday first baseman next year. So Reynolds will most likely, and he hasn't proved over at third base, but most likely wind up over at third again on a full-time basis next season. 1-1 the count to Ryan Howard. Ryan with 30 home runs and 91 runs batted in.
Nice. It gave Chase Utley a hit there. A little bit surprised, though, because usually the first hit of the game has to be clean.
There goes Chase. Pitch is taken inside. The throw to second base. Not in time. Feet first slide by Chase Utley. Chase now has stolen 14 consecutive bases without being caught.
Well, he got that on Herron. Herron was really slow to the plate, and they had something there on first movement, because as soon as he moves, watch if we can see right there. Now see, as soon as that foot moved, he was gone, and he gives Snyder no shot to get him.
2-1, pulled foul by Howard, so it's 2-2.
Here's Chase Utley. He's a feet first guy. A little pop-up slide there and stays on the bag.
Talk to Davey Lopes. That's the only way to go, is feet first.
Well, you're less likely to get hurt. So that core again, you know, guys really can hurt their hands going in head first. Davey Lopes comes from the old schools. You want to go in and punish that guy at second with your spikes. And he's not so happy to be around that bag if you come in with those spikes up. Come in with your hands, they don't care.
And Ryan's down on strikes to finish off this first inning. First strikeout of the night for Herron. Phillies strand a runner in scoring position. No scores. We go to the second. Reynolds to start things off, and joining us here in the booth is David Montgomery, the president of the Phillies, and sitting down watching another sold-out crowd. 52nd of the year. Pretty impressive.
No, it's been unbelievable. The fan support, Tom, has just been incredible. It's the I mean, you know, ever since obviously we moved to the Citizens Bank Park, and it's hard to believe it's 6 years already, but the support's been great. But this year it's off the charts.
Well, it's off the charts even just watching folks walk in Ashburn Alley. It's almost as if they're going along an outdoor mall, and it gets thicker and thicker as it seems like we get closer and closer to the weekends too here at the ballpark.
Well, I've said this many times. You know, we actually put the drink rails in here to protect the back row of the seats, and we knew that it would be a bit of a gathering place, but we had no idea how many people would be comfortable standing here. And obviously they can stand in the outfield, as you're referencing, and they can stand behind home plate, wherever, and not just on the lower level as well. You have a number of people that enjoy standing upstairs. So pretty neat that way.
1-2 the count to Mark Reynolds as we start the top of the second inning.
David, was that an intentional part of the design to allow people to, you know, as they move around the ballpark, that you can still see what's going on?
Oh, yeah, there's no question. I mean, the whole concept of open concourses and having your fixed concession stands and restrooms all on the outer wall, so that was the main difference from Veteran Stadium experience. We always felt at the Vet that somebody had to give up maybe a half an inning to an inning and a half to go back and either use the facilities or get something to eat. And although there were TVs in the concourses, the reality is
that's going to be a 1-4-3 put out there.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a bit of a pitcher's battle.
I would think it is.
Yeah, guys. But at any rate, the thought was that coming here, we wanted to make the place feel smaller, so that's one of the reasons we went down. And all the entrances are on street level. And then the other thing we really wanted to do was have everybody feel that whether they were in their seats or whether they were wandering, they were still in touch with the game with us.
2,611,209. Third in the majors, and we're waiting for the total from tonight. But over 3 million tickets already sold for 2009. And
yeah, actually, we've already sold. We have to play all the games, but we've already sold more than our total last year. Which, when we came into this season, we thought, probably be 5% maybe short of last year's total because of the interest that was so strong last August and September. But the reality is that people have purchased early and clearly often, and we have solid attendance right through the end of the season at this point.
Hey, the bottom line is that fans really like these players.
I think the two aspects are obviously winning games always helps, Wheels, but I think they enjoy the ballpark, they enjoy the ballpark experience, and they have really identified in a very positive way with our players, no question.
Fly ball to shallow center field. Victorino is there, makes the grab, and the inning is over. So 1-2-3. Cliff Lee works another easy inning as we go to the bottom of the second. Joined upstairs by David Montgomery, the president of the Phillies, and there's Charlie Manuel in his 5th season with 421 wins. And David, I'll ask you this, and Wheels, you could probably comment on this too. Nothing's been accomplished yet this year, but the Phillies have won 2 straight divisional titles and obviously the World Championship. We say that the fans really like this group. Is it similar to the team that won the 3 straight divisional titles in the 70s too?
Oh, I think there's some real similarities, partly because this club, its nucleus has come from within the system, and the nucleus of that club likewise came from within the system.
That ball seemed to fool not only Trent Olchin, the center fielder, but certainly Ryan Roberts, who had a long way to come to try to make that play. And Jason Worth has a leadoff single here in the 2nd inning.
Actually, I think in the mid 70s, the group there really had identified with the struggle to get there that Larry Boa had, that Schmitty had that first year and whatnot. So I think there was a little bit different. I don't think Jimmy, for example, ever had that. And clearly, they had more. This group had more immediate success, I think, than that group did. But I think the backgrounds are similar. When Jimmy joined us, this club in the late 90s had not been a winning ball club. And similar in the early 70s, we were certainly not a good club. And the key is to sustain it as long as you possibly can. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the thing that really got the Phillies going in the 70s, as David said, that all the homegrown guys, come up together, fans start to identify. When they had one player who was Dave Cash, and he came over with a winning attitude from the Pirates.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. And
Yes,
all
we
of a
can.
sudden, his enthusiasm in that clubhouse, Dave, as you remember, was infectious.
Right.
And guys started to look at each other like, man, you know, we got us a winner here in Dave Cash, and he says we're winners. And all of a sudden, they turned the corner, and once they did, they were really good.
And then there was a carryover 2 years later in '80 when Pete Rose. Well, obviously Pete Rose came a year later, but then in '80 they won the Phillies won the World Championship.
Well, and there's no question the analogy continues as far as the additional pieces that were added. I mean, I'd be the first to admit when we traded Willie Montanez for Gary, I thought, oh my, do we know what we're doing? And
How about when
even
Boa
Rick
said,
Wise? How about Rick Wise for lefty?
How about when Boa said, "Who else do we get?"
Well, did he
Oh,
really?
Maddox to this day never forgot that. He said, "What do you mean we got Maddox? Who else?"
But the reality is, whether it was Gary, whether it was Bake McBride, whether it was Pete, as you're pointing out at the end, I mean, we added some really wonderful pieces there. Obviously, the bullpen, for example, you know, the whole group, Ron Reed, Gene Garber, and Tug, you know, all became key elements. I mean, the 77 team, which I know Wheels probably agrees with me, we all thought was probably the best of all those clubs, probably because of bullpen depth.
There's a line drive base hit for Ibanez. Nice piece of hitting there. And back-to-back singles now for the Phillies.
You know, there's one similarity that jumps out at me, David, that happened back at that era was, and you know how Ruley Carpenter loved the farm system. Well, you had to have a good farm system to get a veteran player. The Phillies made this terrific deal for Lee. Well, they got Bake McBride.
Yep.
And Tommy Underwood was in that deal, a guy the Phillies did not want to trade, a young left-handed pitcher. And Bake McBride was a huge piece of the puzzle back then.
No question. No question. I mean, the farm system can be used two ways to help you win. One way is to have those players join your club, and the other way clearly is to use valuable members of the farm system in deals to fill needs elsewhere. And you know, we 4 or 5 years from now, we're feeling great about Cliff for good reason, but we sent some talented young people to the Indians, and who knows, you know, Jason Knapp, for example, was all of 18 years of age when we sent him over there. So I hope for the sake of all four of those young men that they have very solid careers. I believe they will.
Well, after Pedro Feliz retired on a fly ball, it'll bring Paul Bacco to the plate. Bacco hitting 175 on the year with a home run and 5 RBIs. He's batting with runners on first and second. David, you'll enjoy this. I was telling Wheels that I was talking to Charlie before, and I said, you know, he said, I said, hey, Paul Bacco's starting again with Cliff Lee out on the mound. He said, Tom, I may not be superstitious, but I feel lucky when Paul Bacco's out there behind the plate.
Chuck, he could simplify things sometimes. You know, he really can.
But he's been so good too for this organization, Charlie, with what he's been able to accomplish.
Well, there's another similarity. I mean, Danny Ozark probably was as supportive and protective a manager. I mean, not everybody would have written Mike Schmidt's name in that first year every day like he did, and you know, Larry Bowa is a very good friend to this day, and Wheels as well. But Larry hitting left-handed in 1970 was, wow. It was a working. It was really a work in progress.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Was it? Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, Ralph Bernstein, who was a writer for Associated Press, and that was big in those days, called him a little leaguer.
Right. Yeah.
That probably didn't sit well.
Well, it was before Bowa could really snap on people,
okay.
But he got Ralph later.
Well, but that was what made Larry great was how he responded to every challenge. I mean, you know, I to this day believe that. The failure, for example, to make his high school team right away, you know, Bo was I'll show you, I can do it.
Yes.
And boy, did he do it.
Well, there's something to be said for people like that too.
Frank Lucchese was huge for Larry Bowa that first year, because if Lucchese hadn't had him in the minor leagues and knew what was in his heart and in his belly, I don't know that another manager could have stuck with Bowa that first year.
That's another good point. We didn't have the opportunity to have Frank as our manager for very long, but he was a colorful manager in both 70 and 71, and then partway through 72.
Opposite way for Bacco on the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Phillies catcher. No score here in the bottom of the second inning. 2 runners on. The Phillies got back-to-back singles to begin this second inning. Worth's on second base. Ibanez is on first. And after Pedro Feliz flied out to center field, Paul Bacco is up.
But one thing you want to do is make Herrin throw a lot of pitches on a night like this. You know, he pitches in Arizona. It's hot there, but they close the roof and it's air conditioned. So you come out to the East Coast and you pitch on a night like this, you can go quickly.
Well, Bacco down on strikes, so 2 away here in the second inning, and Cliff Lee is going to get a chance to bat here against Dan Herrin in the bottom half of the second inning.
That was that split we talked about with Herrin. It's such a great strikeout pitch for him. He got Ryan Howard on one. He just got Bacco on. Well, watch the bottom fall out of this thing. And he'll throw it any time. Ooh, that looks like a strike the whole way and then gone.
David, did you take a peek downstairs at the Baseball 101 event that took place
today?
Yeah,
actually, I was down there just for about 3/4 of an hour, and I happened to catch Jay Happ's Q&A with the group, and boy, that was special. The reaction he got, I think, almost embarrassed him. It was. I'm dating myself, but when he walked into the room, there was some applause and some shrieking and whatnot. It was reminded me of a reaction to the Beatles and whatnot back in the '60s. No, I mean it was he was totally caught off guard, but he's such an unassuming guy, and boy, what a job he's done for us this year. But it's great to hear some of the questions that they get asked. A lot of them are very personal. What routines do you go through? And he was willing to share a few things, but there were some things that he just decided, and then I remember one of the questions was, well, what do you do to enjoy yourself? And after he explained what he did, he said, well, that's not very exciting, is it? So he's sort of apologizing for not leading a more exciting life.
Well, there's a pop-up left side of the infield, so Herrin, who allowed the first 2 batters to reach base, is going to get out of this jam here in the second inning. David, we appreciate you joining us.
My pleasure, Tom. Good to be with you. Wheels always.
Thanks, David.
All right. Take care, man.
David Montgomery, the president of the Phils, our guest up here in the booth. No scores. We go to the third. In Diamondbacks history, the answer will be revealed in the 7th inning, but if you could have just seen Wheels' face when I read that question, you would understand that he has no idea right now. No idea?
No.
Okay. It's a good question, though. After seeing the answer, it is a very good question.
No kidding.
Well, just because of who it is.
I might be able to, in an hour or so, take an educated guess.
Yeah. Well, Cliff Lee gets set to begin the top of the third in a scoreless ball game. They're not scoreless up in New York on the Toyota Major League scoreboard. Matt Diaz has 2 RBIs. The Braves lead the Mets 4-0. They led the Mets 4-0 last night, but wound up losing that ball game. Here's Chris Snyder, 0 for 3 lifetime against Cliff Lee. And he takes a pitch for a strike. Snyder is 3 for 26 since coming off the disabled list. It's a disabled list that he came off of when the Phillies were in Arizona. And one of those 3 was a long home run that he hit in one of those ball games. 0-2 the count.
Well, he has some power, and as you mentioned last night, he was their #1 guy.
Pops that one up behind home plate initially. It's going to be a fair ball as Paul Bacco makes the grab.
Well, he's an old school catcher. And by that I mean he waited, and then when he had it lined up, he threw that mask away. And that's the way they used to teach how to catch. I'm sure they still do, but you used to see a guy fire it like he just did.
Yeah, a lot of catchers are wearing those hockey style masks that they don't even take off anymore. Hey, in 2010, don't get shut out of the games you want to see. You could be on deck to be among the first Phillies to lock in your seats with a new 2010 season ticket plan. Call 215-463-5000 or log on to Phillies.com now.
Why do you throw the mask away like that? Well, those pop flies can be an adventure the way they're spinning back towards the infield. And, you drop it too soon, you might step on it.
Well, if you talk to Carlos Ruiz about his conversion from being a second baseman to a catcher, as Alex Romero takes the pitch inside and the count is 1-1, Carlos will tell you that was the rude awakening moment when he started catching, was try to catch those pop-ups because they spin back.
Right. They're not used to that. That's the only position really where you're back there and the thing's spinning back to you like that. And, they have to learn to go to a spot and then let it come to them. And that's easier said than done. There's a lot of drills involved in that, a lot of practice.
Romero just gets a piece of it, and the count holds 1-2.
2 left-handed hitters in the lineup tonight, Romero and, of course, Drew. But they have put as many right-handed hitters as possible, put all a left-handed hitting bench, and they have a lot of pitchers, so only 4 extra men.
Romero, when he was called up from AAA, was hitting .348.
This guy's a pretty good-looking player. He can do some things. They have some good young players. It's just a matter of whether they can figure out a way to catch the ball a little bit better. Their pitching is, they lost Webb for the whole year. But they had Webb and Herron as a 1-2. I mean, that's pretty strong.
Also, the guy that's going to go tomorrow, Doug Davis, isn't too bad.
Good pitcher.
Left side of the infield, Pedro Feliz calls everybody off. And there are 2 outs. 8 in a row retired by Cliff Lee.
Herron's a pretty good hitter. You have to pitch Dan Herron like, you just don't throw him fastballs down the middle and think he's stand there. Because he can swing the bat. He's a good athlete.
Well, he's hitting .241 this year. He's got 13 hits. He had 54 at bats, and one of those hits a home run. Oh, that one got a piece of Chuck Merriweather. That went right past Paul Bacco. Might have hit the glove of Bacco and got the leg of big Chuck Merriweather. That didn't get much of the glove at all.
Whoa.
He's back out there, though. No balls and 2 strikes.
Chuck and Mike Riley, 2 of the guys in this crew, were with the Phillies at the White House this year. They were a crew that was in Washington for that weekend, and they were at the White House ceremony with the president.
And Herron's down on strikes. So 1, 2, 3, third inning. 9 batters up, 9 batters down by Cliff Lee. We've played 2.5. Still no score. burgers made with juicy 100% Angus beef, available with premium toppings in 3 varieties for just $3.99. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Well, last of the third inning here at Citizens Bank Park, and Baco's Tacos are in the house, Wheels. Homers are here as well.
Too hot for that man.
I was going to say, he probably had it on for a little while, but
might put it on when Ryan comes up, and that's it.
There's a lot of perspiration that's building up there. Well, the Phillies so far have left 3 runners on base in the first 2 innings against Dan Herron. Trying to capitalize here at the top of the order, at the bottom of the 3rd. And Jimmy takes one for a strike to the knees.
Well, Herron looks like he's on tonight. He's very sharp. And, of course, Cliff Lee is Cliff Lee.
Dan Herron's been traded a couple of times during his career. We were talking to David Montgomery about, farm systems and how they're used by teams to better the Major League club. Well, Herron was a 2nd-round pick by the St. Louis Cardinals in 2001 and was traded to the Oakland A's in that Mark Mulder deal. And then the A's, after he had some pretty good seasons with them and established himself in Oakland, traded him on to Arizona. So he's had both ends of the baseball economics.
Well, he's down to Jimmy Rollins, and then he throws a high fastball and he chases it. It was a foul tip held onto there by Snyder. You see Chuck Merriweather give that little sign, hands flipping one off the other.
3rd strikeout. Here's Victorino. Shane fly to left his first time up.
Well, this is one of those games where you thought on paper could be tough, and you got to do little things, which the Phillies, of course, did not do last inning when they had 2 on and nobody out, and they never moved.
On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Braves were not content with a 4-0 lead last night. They wound up losing that lead. Tonight, they've built their lead to 8-0. Brian McCann, a home run, 3 RBIs.
That was supposed to be Parnell tonight.
Yeah, Bobby Parnell on the mound for the Mets. Jair Jurgens on the hill for the Braves. So a 1-out walk. Hey, tonight on Sports Night, A.D. Fadul has post-game reaction from Citizens Bank Park. Plus, Derek Gunn has the latest as the Eagles get set for a preseason matchup in Indy against Peyton Manning and the Colts. All the news Philly fans need to know, tonight on Sports Night, only on Comcast Sports Night. Chase reached on an infield single his first time up. Stole second base. Victorino draws the throw. That was a close play. He got him in between steps as he tossed it over.
Well, Herron, Chase Utley ran on him in the first inning, so he's aware of the fact that the Phillies may try to run on him tonight.
Another toss over. Well, we mentioned that Chuck Merriweather is behind home plate. Mike Muklinski is over at first base. Laz Diaz is at second, and Mike Riley, who is the crew chief, is around to third.
Yeah, Laz Diaz is another guy who was at the White House that afternoon when the Phillies were able to go there.
Chase sends one in the air to center field. It's pretty deep. Moving back is Olchin to the warning track. That one is gone into the Phillies bullpen. 2-run towering home run for Chase Utley, and the Phillies are on top 2-0.
Boy, the ball was flying in batting practice tonight. And, you thought with these 2 pitchers, maybe they're not going to throw a whole lot of fly balls, but if they get one up, look out. And he crushed that thing. Here it is. Looked like a high fastball and a center field. You can see Herron's reaction there was, I don't think this park's going to hold that one.
Right over the head of Jamie Boyer, who is sitting Indian style in that Phillies bullpen, looking out over the 398 side. And Kelly Mortland of Yardley, PA, you've just won $100 courtesy of the McDonald's home run jackpot. There's Jamie, who had pitched 6 scoreless innings last night. Chase is 2 for 2. And here's Ryan Howard.
Well, you love to give Lee a lead.
Wheels, how about the way Olsen went after that ball?
Well, yeah, he thought he had it.
He thought he had it. And then all of a sudden he starts running along the warning track and he's like, uh-oh, I'm running out of room.
I was kidding Greg Schulte there, the Arizona really good play-by-play guy, the radio play-by-play guy. So get your home run call ready tonight just in case. Because watching BP tonight, it was home run derby on both sides. Now pitchers could stop that, these kind of pitchers.
Something soft there to Ryan, and the count 2-1. Chase heating up a little bit. 3 hits in the series, 10 in his last 22 at bats. 2-2 to Ryan Howard.
Well, he got a fastball there. He's been throwing him off speed stuff and threw him a fastball. I think Ryan thought that was low. Home run number 19 for Herron, and it was 9 and 9 before that one. 9 right-handed hitters, 9 left-handed hitters.
That's a good amount of home runs given up at this point.
Well, and he's also 204 left-handed hitters, 209 right-handed hitters, about the same.
Ball hit hard on one hop. Nice play by Reynolds. And he set himself before he flipped it over to Herron. 2 outs. Hey, the San Francisco Giants will be visiting Philadelphia on Tuesday, September 1st at 7:05. That'll be the start of a 3-game series. That night, it's Motrin IB Ladies Night. Phillies All-Star Print for all women 15 and over. The 3-game series finishes up on Thursday the 3rd at 7:05. You can log on to Phillies.com to purchase your tickets today. 2 outs for Jason Worth, who singled his first time up. And he takes one for a strike. A lot of folks are scratching their head when the Oakland A's traded Herron to the Diamondbacks, but they did it because he was about to come into some pretty good money. And they got a few prospects in return. Will's mentioned it before. He and Brandon Webb are a heck of a 1-2 punch when they're both healthy.
There's Joe Blanton, who was on that staff. They had Zito. They had Hudson.
Mulder.
Think of those pitchers.
Rich Harden.
Wow.
The list goes on and on. Off the end of the bat, caught by Ryle, and the inning is over. But the damage is done, and Chase Utley, he provided the damage. A long 2-run home run, a towering shot. His 25th of the year. He's given the Phillies a 2-0 lead as we go to the 4th. Bullpen, and Gary Matthews joins us here in the booth. And what a night last night for Jamie, Sarge.
Oh, boy, I tell you, it was on the corners and most of all, keeping the hitters off balance. He pitched as if he had something to prove, and he pitched very well. In and out, fastballs. Again, when he keeps those hitters off balance, look at the location. He's as good as it gets. And what a magnificent game Jamie Moyer threw.
Well, we begin the top of the fourth inning, and Pedro Feliz allows one that he should have had go under his glove. Roberts hustling for second, and he slides in safely. We'll see how they score that one. And they scored an error to Pedro Feliz, his 12th of the year. Pedro just kind of let that ball handcuff him.
I can see the ball there. It has some top spin on it. Actually, just didn't get down on the ball. And you're right, ball kind of really played him. Ball hit hard, though, with top spin. So he hooks it down in the corner.
Looked like it hit the edge of that grass, too, Sarge, and that maybe caused it to stay down.
Yeah, it looked like he was a little bit off balance, though, in going and trying to get the ball.
Augie Ojeda's 0 for 1. He shows bunt, takes a pitch for a strike. And Chuck Merriweather's hearing something from the Diamondbacks dugout.
Yeah, the ball's a little low.
AJ Hinch just said that. Chuck's still looking. AJ, a former catcher. I think Augie Ojeda is still saying something to him. Sarge, give me a little baseball setup here. I mean, Kirk Gibson, who's the bench coach of the Diamondbacks, he was probably barking too, but the D-backs are down 2-0. Runner on second, tough pitcher on the mound. Are you sacrificing here?
Getting him over.
And he does get him over on one hop. Chase thought about a throw to third. So 1 out. So I guess from a baseball standpoint, you either try to hit it the opposite way, or if you don't think you can, that's why you would bunt.
Absolutely. Whatever way you can and be able to drive that ball over or bunt the ball. Managers would like for him to try and drive the ball on the other side just in case it gets through. Now you're on, and now you end up getting an RBI. But if you make the out, you'd like for it to be on that right side. And good job by Ojeda.
1 out for Stephen Drew, who grounded out his first time up. And that one's in the air to center field. Shane Victorino will settle under it. Tagging from third is Roberts. He'll score easily. So it's a sac fly for Drew. And the Phillies' lead is cut to 1. It's 2-1. Against the Colorado Rockies in his first start here in Philadelphia, Lee had a similar situation in the first inning where, he did not allow the Rockies to explode for a big inning. He allowed a sacrifice fly, and that's kind of what he's just done here.
Yeah, and Lee gets that ball and he just fires the ball. Hasn't been shaking Baco off, so that would tell you that he feels very comfortable in throwing to him. Looked like a little better pitch. Again, for the hitters and the pitchers, they just want the umpire to be consistent. Whatever zone he has, don't have a floating zone and don't change because of whatever the score is of the game.
Off the end of the bat, Ryan Howard will give it a look. He's a happy fan. Count 1-2. Mark Reynolds with 38 home runs and 83 RBIs. He's 14 home runs, leads the National League since the All-Star break. And look out. Ball came back sizzling toward the Hall of Fame club and then shot right back down.
This guy, though, too, he does not hit cheap home runs. Reynolds hits long home runs, averaging 420 on the balls that he's hit out of the ballpark.
Well, he's down on strikes for the second time in this ball game. So Cliff Lee has struck out 4. He's allowed a run. It's an unearned run as we go to the bottom of the fourth. field. Phillies lead it 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Looks like there's a little bit of a debate going on there as Raul Ibanez leads it off. Raul singled his last time up the opposite way, and he takes a pitch inside or on the inside corner for strike one.
They see that adjustment right away from Herron. Ibanez got a base hit on a pitch that was out over the plate. This time he came in on him.
Sarge, I would think that if you're Raul, just watching him the first couple months of the season, you'd want the ball inside.
Oh, he likes the ball out over the plate.
Okay.
You know, he insides out the ball, though, that's maybe belt. He'll have more of a ground ball. The one that's up, that's out over the plate, he just tries to hit it and hit hard. Here lately, he's been rolling his hands over and getting ground balls.
Well, he's down on strikes. An off-speed pitch from Herron. Looked like that was a splitter. And one away here in the fourth. Well, Tuesday, September 15th, the Phillies will be here in Philadelphia taking on the Washington Nationals. That's the start of a 3-game series. All 3 games at 7:05. You can log on to Phillies.com, purchase your tickets today. The Nationals, who had the #1 pick in this year's draft, selected Steven Strasburg from San Diego State. They signed him. And Mike Rizzo, who's the acting GM for the Nationals, who trailed the Rockies 3-1 at the top of the third, said yesterday he does not envision Strasburg pitching in the big leagues this year, which goes against some of the things that we had initially heard when he was selected #1 overall.
Well, you know, I would think that they let him go and get his feet wet. You can destroy your confidence if you have kids up that they're too young. You know, Corey Patterson with the Chicago Cubs is a guy that they brought up a little bit too soon, and consequently end of his career. And for whatever reason, you need a lot more at bats, I think, when you're in the minor leagues, as opposed to being rushed up there just because they don't have anyone.
And you also need innings if you're a pitcher. I mean, Mike Morgan, who was selected a long time ago by the Oakland A's, he was sped right up to the big leagues as I think an 18-year-old, and you know he had himself a very good career.
Yeah.
But still, it takes some seasoning for pitchers. They need to get some innings.
Well, they have to get some innings, and that fastball that they throw, they have to be able to locate it. Can't locate it, you're going to have some problems in the major leagues.
All right, let me ask you, Sarge, with 2 outs and Paul Bacco's at the plate, and he rolls one toward the middle. That's a base hit into center field. 2-out base hit for Bacco. He's aboard here in the fourth. Does it depend on the player, Sarge, as to who can make it up quicker, a position player or a pitcher?
Well, I think, the individual. Bob Horner came right off the campus of ASU, facing Bert Blyleven, mind you, and goes deep. I knew that he was going to be there to stay. Good teammate, Bob Horner. But again, it depends on the individual. He didn't have a long career just simply because of injuries. But the fact is, he came there and was able to hit.
Well, the other guy, too, who people would recognize that came right to the majors was Pete Incaviglia from Oklahoma State. Cliff Lee, down to the count, no balls and 1 strike.
Cliff swinging at that pitch and asking himself, how did I miss it? Takes a pretty good cut.
Well, he got a piece of that one. And it's 0-2. It's time now for our Geico quote of the day. And it comes from Cliff Lee on pitching in the National League. It's more fun. Obviously, I get to hit. Bunting, stuff like that. Other than that, it's still baseball. You've still got to make pitches. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. Well, he's 3 for 10 so far as a hitter, including a pop out to shortstop tonight.
Yeah, I could see him liking that hitting part of it, not the bunting part of it, especially if the pitcher's a little bit wild and you haven't been used to bunting.
It's the 1-2 behind home plate. Snyder will give it a look, but it's back into the seats.
And most of the time, too, most pitchers don't have to worry about their counterparts throwing up and in at them. So they're just kind of wailing away. Very seldom do you see a pitcher just knocking another pitcher down. Now, they'll do it at times when it's not on purpose. Threw him a split, and I was going to say common courtesy to see if you can get the fastball by him.
It's a pretty good swing. It's his first time up against Herring.
Well, that might be his decision why he wants to go with the split or off-speed pitch. Oof. And
he gets Lee looking on strikes to end the bottom of the fourth inning. 2 strikeouts of the inning for Dan Herring. Phillies strand 1. We move on to the 5th in a 2-1 game. Pitcher Ricky Bottalico, plus Amy Padul's exclusive player interviews on Sloan Toyota presents Phillies postgame live after the game only on Comcast Sportsnet. Top of the 5th inning, Phillies lead it 2-1 thanks to a home run by Chase Utley. Cliff Lee is allowed a run, but it was an unearned run because of an error to Pedro Feliz. That was in the 4th. And he's been pretty efficient so far, just as he has been in his previous 3 starts in a Phillies uniform. Lee has won 6 consecutive games, Sarge, and his career high is an 8-game winning streak. And I know he struggled the first month of the season with the Indians, but man, he has been really good since putting a Phillies uniform on, and he must have been really good the last few starts with the Indians too.
Yeah, sometimes a player just needs a change of scenery to try and get that ability to come out. Well, as long as that arm was healthy, I mean, he's legit. He was the previous year winning that Cy Young.
Here's Rusty Ryle leading it off in the top of the 5th inning. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Ryle at AAA this year had 70 RBIs and 17 home runs when he was called up.
Wow, that's having a good year, having a great year.
0-2 the count. And he got him right at the knees. A call, strike 3.
Oh, he's shaking his head like, man, I can't believe that Chuck called that. You're going to get pitches called by Chuck Merriweather. If you're around that plate consistently, I don't know what he's arguing about.
Let's watch it go across the knees.
See, and notice though, Bacco doesn't move the glove in or out. It does come up a little bit.
Well, 1 out, and Olchin lays down a bunt. Now the Diamondbacks do not have a base hit as of yet, as Chuck Merriweather got a piece of that one off his leg. Do not have a base hit as of yet. And Olchin's trying to do everything he can to get on base in a 1-run game. Ball, 2 strikes the count.
Well, so far doing a great job and not throwing the ball out over the plate. He's been inside and hitting that outside corner at will. But the fact that he can get strikes inside and hitters swinging at it would tell you that it's pretty close to that plate.
Line drive the opposite way, fair or foul, a foul ball.
That was that slider, more hanging, that ball inside. He'd like to get that ball either down and kind of breaking away from the left-handed hitter. The way he's swinging at the fastball inside, might want to give him a steady diet of that.
Well, they do, and it knocks it back a little bit, 2-2, a little higher than probably Lee wanted it. Although who knows, he might be setting him up to come back with something off the outside part of the plate.
Well, you know, he was swinging a little bit late on the fastball, therefore you don't want to speed his bat up by throwing something like a slider that's almost pretty close to the fastball.
Line drive, caught right off the top of the dirt by Chase Utley, and 2 away.
See if Utley gets this before it hits the ground, and he does. Holds that up. Laz Diaz, second base umpire, made the call.
It looked like Laz was mouthing yes, yes, yes before he even put the hand up. Here's Chris Snyder. He popped out to Bacco his first time up, and the count, no balls and 1 strike to him. These 2 teams will wrap up this series tomorrow night here in Philadelphia. For the Phillies, head up to New York for 4 games and out to Pittsburgh for 3. Joe Blanton against Doug Davis tomorrow. That one is hit a mile high. It stays in the ballpark as Ibanez puts it away, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3 go the Diamondbacks. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Top of the order, Jimmy Rollins, Shane Victorino, and Chase Utley. Be matched by Goya for a donation to Phil Abundance. You can order your tickets now by logging on to Phillies.com. Bottom of the fifth inning. Phillies lead it 2-1. Jimmy Rollins will lead things off. Well, tonight, we have so many folks that help us out here, Sarge, at the ballpark on a daily basis. And we have a couple of interns that have helped us out this entire summer. Phil Eastman is one, and he's going to stay around for a few more days because Penn State doesn't start its semester until later on. But Dina Blumenthal, who has been one of our interns this entire year, today is her final day before she heads back to North Broad Street to Temple University to finish up her final semester. And she's going to do something, Sarge, that's unheard of. She's going to graduate in 3.5 years.
Wow.
As Jimmy Rollins lines one toward right field, and it's over the head of Romero. And J-Roll speeding towards second, there sliding, and he's in with a leadoff double to start this fifth inning. 31st double of the year for Jimmy. Anyway, we want to thank Dina for all of her hard work, and we appreciate everything that she has done, and we want to wish her the best of luck as she finishes up her final semester of school.
Well, sure do. As J-Roll hits this ball right off the bottom of the wall there. One hops it, makes it in easily. You see how important that base hit was, though, for Baco, getting Cliff Lee out of the way to start this inning.
Well, that'll bring Shane Victorino to the plate. Corners play in. Shane takes the pitch low after showing bunt.
Yeah, that's a good play. Having him bunt the ball, and what that does with that speed, got to make sure those fielders make a decision right away. And a lot of times, if they're not right on the money, Victorino either beats it out or that ball is thrown wildly.
They'll appeal that check swing. No swing, says Mike Riley. It's 2-0. What do you think here? Is he still going to try to bunt?
Well, again, for me, hitters that can pull the ball, and this is what he wants to do. You let him hit. If you think that you're not able to do it that way, then you got to bunt the ball. And if he bunts it in the right place, you get the runner over and a base hit.
He was no doubt trying to pull the ball there. That was an aggressive swing.
Yeah. On a high fastball, but that ball there, more than likely, you're going to be hitting to left field or the other side. Well, that low ball that he throws, it's a little bit easier to pull.
He does pull one through the right side. It's a right field, a base hit. J-Roll hesitated, so he stops at third.
Yeah.
And Victorino's aboard for the second time tonight.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that one. Maybe he just didn't see it. The ball's a ground ball all the way. Really no sense in hesitating. You can see the ball, one hopper going through the hole. J-Roll hesitates a little bit. Might have cost him from scoring. Now here he goes. You can see how he just freezes on that and then decides to go. So, no, only time you freeze, remember that, is if it's a line drive.
Do you think he thought the ball was hit so hard that it might go right to the first baseman and he could be thrown out at third? I mean, he's so quick.
You got to know where the runners or the fielders are when you're on base. You take a look at them when you're on second base. You should know where the outfielders are playing and also the infielders. Therefore, you don't have to look.
Well, here's Chase Utley, who homered his last time up. Nobody out. Bottom of the fifth inning. Phillies lead it 2-1.
Good hitting by Victorino, though, to pull that ball and get that ball down low. You can get your hands over on him. The ball that's high, difficult to do.
The count to Chase. There's a chance that Shane takes off here at any point?
Well, I think he wants to probably give him at least one strike or pick out a pitch that it might be an off-speed pitch to go. The worst thing that you want is to be thrown out there at second base.
Opposite way in the air. J-Roll's going to tag from third. Roberts settles under it, makes the catch, and Jimmy's not going anywhere. One away.
That was 2 balls and no strikes. Expect a little bit harder contact. Believe it or not, here it looked like he was kind of pitching around him a little bit.
Here's Ryan Howard, who's 0 for 2, 0 for 7 in this series so far. Time was called before that throw over to first. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Marlins have jumped out to a 2-0 lead over the Astros. Jorge Cantu has an RBI in the top of the first inning. That game has now moved to the bottom of the first.
They've been playing pretty good, getting some pretty good hitting, the Marlins have.
Yeah, they've won 8 of 10, which is why they remain 4.5 games back in the division. That's a tough pitch.
That's a cutter that coming in. That's not a strike, though. But again, it's on that inside part of the plate. That's not a pitch that a batter wants to swing at, especially with runners on first and third. It's just looking to drive the ball and get it out of that outfield deep enough to get J-Ro in.
No balls, 2 strikes the count as Herron delivers a splitter. And Ryan swung over the top of.
Now, there have been different ways that they've been going after Ryan Howard, especially with the 2 strikes. They'll throw the high fastball that he's been chasing, and also off speed that would be off the plate. Looks like off speed to me.
Good play by Snyder, and it's 1-2. Now the Diamondbacks are playing the infield back. Looking to turn 2. Maybe get out of this inning. A.J. Hinch, who took over for Bob Melvin earlier this year. Nice play by that fan, using his cap.
That's a pretty good swing by Howard, and now the Chuck Merriweather has called that ball inside. What that does for the hitter, it's going to make him swing at that ball inside because he doesn't want to get called out with strike 3. If he was able to take that pitch, now you can take those ones in there because the umpire is not calling them.
In the air to left field, pretty deep. Ryan Roberts going back to the warning track to the wall, and it is gone! Right into the flower bed. A 3-run opposite field home run for Ryan Howard. And the Phillies now lead it 5-1. Man, did that ball carry.
Well, he's just so strong, Tom. That's what you call picking up your teammate there. Chase Utley not able to get that ball in, as it is Cadillac time. That's the big one, too, by the way. Even though it just got right into the bed there. You can see that ball inside. Pretty good pitch. Snyder, the catcher, goes, man, this ball's out of here, as he does a little Perriette there, a little 360 pace. Nice hitting, Ryan Howard.
Jason Worth to straightaway center field. Olchen going back, and that one is gone.
Oh, boy.
Off the batter's eye, back-to-back home runs for the Phillies. First Ryan Howard, now Jason Worth, and it's a 6-1 Phillies lead.
Oh, boy.
And that one just sounded like it was Cadillac time.
Well, let me tell you now, when these guys start making solid contact, getting a little press there, young man, that's okay. Cadillac time. Let's call this one here, Tom. Coopteville, straightaway center field.
Bill Stottlemyre Jr. out to try to settle Dan Herron down. 3 homers for the Phillies in this game.
Boy, you can't get any more perfect when you hit a ball straight away. You see how he flips that bat? That's how he tells you that it's gone, and gone a long way, as it knocks down some ivy out there on the wall.
26 home runs for Jason Worth. 73 runs batted in. And the Phillies lead it by 5. 7th time this year the Phillies have gone back-to-back. First time here in August. And it's 0-1 to Raul Ibanez.
Well, that's what makes this club so dangerous. I mean, they can jump right on you. Big at bat by Ryan Howard with 2 strikes. Just trying to drive the ball, and he did. Just kind of shows you what he can do. He gets that mental attitude going there at the plate. He was very, very determined and put a good swing on a ball and really hit a good pitch. Although maybe Snyder didn't think it was a good pitch.
He wanted it a little higher than it was.
And not only, yeah, he did want that higher. You can see how he had his glove up a little higher. When those catchers hear that sound, they know themselves where that ball's going.
Hit on the hands of Raul.
Now check this out. Now watch this here. Oh, he can't believe it.
Now watch it here. That's even better.
I just kind of let all the air right out of him.
Raul down swinging for the 2nd straight at bat. And 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
You could tell Jason Worth sitting all over fastball. That's what you call putting a sniper on a guy. Really. Knowing that fastball's coming.
Well, Sarge, from a baseball standpoint, when a guy gives up a 3-run home run like Herron did, if you're the next batter, are you automatically thinking, all right, he's going to try to throw this ball right through the wall?
Well, dead red. He's going to prove I'm going to throw another strike. Wanted to get it on the outside and got it right on the good sweet part of the bat, and he put a good stroke on it. He's putting good strokes on the ball. You can forget about getting him out without hitting the ball hard. Just when he starts to move that leg toward third base that he has problems.
2 balls and 1 strike the count to Pedro. 0 for 2, flied out to center, grounded to shortstop. Sounded like he may have broken his bat. Stephen Drew will throw out Pedro Feliz, and the inning is over. What an inning it was for the Phillies. A 3-run home run for Ryan Howard. This one went the opposite way. And then, after Howard's 3-run home run, Jason Worth, well, he added his song to the mix. Surge by the rotation is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. We're here for you every step of the way. Yeah, the starting rotation has been the storyline here in the month of August, but tonight it's the guy on the right who had a 3-run home run and the guy on the left who followed it on the next pitch with a solo home run. They went back-to-back, the 7th time this year that the Phillies have been back-to-back home runs. So they lead it 6-1. In fact, the Phillies have hit 3 homers tonight, a 3-run shot, a 2-run shot, and a solo shot. And Cliff Lee will go to work against 8, 9, and 1. And 9 may be a pinch hitter because the Diamondbacks have bullpen action. As Alex Romero takes a pitch for a strike, and Chad Tracy's come out in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, and this is the part of the lineup you really want to concentrate on. You don't want them starting and making a rally, and I'm sure Lee knows that. Pitch as if it's just nothing.
Well, he's only allowed the 1 base runner. That was Ryan Roberts, who reached on an error and then eventually came around to score. 0-2 the count to Romero. Opposite way, a foul ball. Takes a hop into the seats. That one just got a piece of Paul Bacco's glove.
You saw Chuck Merriweather was trying to get around to see whether or not he hung on the ball or not.
Look at that precision, Sarge. Just 13 pitches out of the strike zone tonight.
That was number 1, legit number 1. You know, and has been. You know, you put a guy like that in a position where he likes the team, they're scoring runs, they play good defense behind them, it just makes him that much better. Besides that number that he's wearing, number 34.
Have you told him that was your number?
No, I'm going to wait until maybe. I just want to see him win as many, and then I'll go and tell him how I used to pitch in high school and so on. And it was a different number.
I'm sure that he's going to want to hear about you pitching in high school.
Not quite that good, though. Let me just tell you. You know, back in the day, had a nice little drop ball, they called it.
0-2 pitch. Opposite way. Ibanez over toward the line. Under it. 1 out. Oh, I don't know if Cliff Lee used that Sarge drop ball there, but he's got the first out here in the 6th.
Yeah, they don't throw those anymore, Tom.
No. What is a drop ball?
Curveball. Call it dropping off the table, so to speak.
Oh, I got you. 12-6.
Well, I don't know if mine was
Lord
12-6.
Charles.
Oh, boy.
Here's Chad Tracy pitch hitting. A .232 hitter overall. 6 homers and 33 RBIs. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
There's that fastball on the inside part of the plate. He's getting strikes, and therefore he can move the ball a little bit further in. And as a hitter, usually you'll swing at that. He's getting ready to go away now.
Rich Doobie, no doubt, has liked what he has charted tonight from Cliff Lee. Off the end of the bat, and the first base hit of the night is a pinch hit single for Chad Tracy. Watch this reaction.
Philly fans are well aware, and they do know the game. Very knowledgeable fans that they have here.
Pretty good amount came to their feet, acknowledging what Cliff Lee had done.
Tell you what, he hit a good pitch as you saw him going down to get that ball.
So 1-out single, back to the top of the order. Here's Ryan Roberts. Roberts has scored the only run for the Diamondbacks. Tracy not a real threat to run. He doesn't have a big lead over at first. And 2-0 the count.
Yeah, well, when you're down by 5 runs and you're just maybe an average runner or below average, there's no way you're going to go unless that ball goes back to the backstop.
probably the longest we've seen Cliff Lee take before throwing another pitch. And after giving up the base hit, throwing 2 out of the strike zone, he probably took an extra minute or so just to kind of collect himself.
Now, Lil Gilman, he's the one that's moving around all the time.
Opposite way, Worth gets a good jump, venturing back toward the track, makes the grab. And there are 2 outs with a runner on first. Hey, the Houston Astros have taken a 3-2 lead over the Florida Marlins. That's a big series for Phil's fans to look at. So is the series when the Astros are here in Philadelphia. It's a 4-game set. All 4 games are at 7:05 beginning on the 28th of September, and it wraps up on the 1st of October. That first day is the final Hatfield Dollar Dog Night here at the ballpark. You can log on to Phillies.com and purchase your tickets. Figure college will be back in session, so there's going to be a lot of hungry college students in the Philadelphia area coming out for that Dollar Dog Night. And speaking of the Astros and the Marlins, Astros have scored 3 in the bottom of the first inning. Lance Berkman with a base hit, an RBI, and a run scored. They now lead the Marlins 3-2 in the second.
Well, they've been doing a lot of hitting in that series so far.
Laura Litzenberger is about ready to field her second straight ground ball. That's a pretty good hairstyle right there. Did you see that mohawk?
No, I didn't, as a matter of fact. I had my eyes glued on Cliff Lee out there. I haven't seen some mohawks go around.
Well, this was a colorful one. Phillies red and blue. Just in time for school. 1-2 the count to Ojeda. On the outside corner. Call. Strike 3. Ojeda doesn't think so. He was chirping at Chuck Merriweather in his last at bat. He's down looking. That's the 6th strikeout for Lee. He allows the first base hit of the night. We play 5.5. Phillies comfortably on top 6-1. Pennsylvanians every day must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly. And that Powerball jackpot is up to $250 million. Chad Tracy stays in the game. He'll be at first base for the Diamondbacks. Mark Reynolds moves from first to third. And the new pitcher is left-hander Clay Zavada, who we saw a handful of times when the Phillies were out in Arizona, taking on the D-backs. 35th game for Zavada He had that Rollie Fingers handlebar mustache the last time we saw the Diamondbacks. Looked like he's toned that down a little bit. Paul Bacco leads it off. He's 1 for 2. And Zavada delivers a strike.
I didn't get a lot of breaking balls over yesterday, or I should say last night. More fastballs. There's the breaking ball again. And want to make sure that he can get the ball over the plate. Try and make him just a one-pitch pitcher, being able to sit on his fastball.
Two and 1 the count to Bacco. So Dan Herron goes 5 innings. He allows 6 runs on 9 hits through 90 pitches. He struck out 6, but he allowed 3 home runs. And here's Zavada with a count 2-2 to Bacco. Bacco's down on strikes, and 1 out here in the 6th inning. And here comes Cliff Lee. Lee popped out his first time up to shortstop, struck out, and he has been unbelievable since the Phillies picked him up from the Cleveland Indians. Well, let's face it, he was even that way prior to the trade. I mean, he was 7-9 with an ERA of 3.14 before the trade, but that only told part of the story. I mean, he was really starting to heat it up before the Phillies picked him up. And kind of pitching the same way he did last year when he won 22 games and won the Cy Young Award. Back toward the middle, and he's got his 4th hit since putting the Phillies uniform on.
Well, we talked about it. He takes a pretty good cut up there. Herron got him on a 2-2 little slide piece and struck him out on it as he was looking. This ball he hits right up the middle. Stays in on the left hand. Check this out here. Not bailing. It goes right up the middle. That's what you try and teach all your hitters. Staying up the middle. Nice job. Short, compact swing.
Jimmy batting right-handed for the first time tonight. And he just gets a piece of that one and flips it foul on the count 0-1.
You got to be careful that you don't want to try and just hit it too hard. He had a double his last time up. Swinging better, evident of the average.
And the number of runs he scored.
Yeah, I mean, getting the RBIs and O's are getting up there. Oops.
Jimmy now has scored 74 runs on the year.
Should score 100.
Yeah, he should score 100 runs. Yeah. It was only about 3 weeks ago when you projected his numbers that he was probably just shy of 100, but he's really picked up the pace to where he's projected to be over 100 runs.
Yeah, and then not only that, Victorino's been hitting the ball, and then you see the way that Ryan's hitting the ball out of the ballpark, along with Jason Worth.
We said on paper this was a great matchup between Dan Herron and Cliff Lee, and the largest crowd of the season, 45,356 on hand to watch this one. 52nd sellout of the year. Chad Tracy. Oh, he was circling around. He made a heck of a catch.
I mean, it just spun him around like a top, and you're right about it. He located the ball late, throws the one hand up, and makes a fine catch out of it. Okay, now just check out the route right there. He's just going to cut now down, and then he's going to come back in. I tell you what, a wide receiver couldn't have done it any better. He
right
comes back
that.
out and uses the one hand to grab it. Nice play by Tracy.
All right, Chad, go out to the umpire, make a quick right. And I'm just going to throw it up. Here's Victorino, and he takes one outside. Shane has scored twice tonight. 84 runs scored this year.
Yeah, he's been solid just about all year long and keeping the ball out of the air, hitting line drives. And then J-Rowe, when he was in that tremendous slump, Victorino was still getting on, so it made it as if you had that second leadoff hitter, if you will. He does have good speed, can steal bases.
Lays off the high fastball, 2-2 the count. That's a spinner behind home plate. It'll find the seats, and it remains 2-2. So Lee, who continues to hover around first base, will take another lead.
Tracy's playing behind him a little, so he's not used to being on base. There's no sense in taking a large lead. This particular time, don't want to see him doing any kind of sliding either.
That one gets away from Snyder. So Lee is going to head up to second base. He's there. That looked like a ball that Snyder should have caught.
Yeah, well, almost tore his glove off. See whether or not it hit that dirt or not. Usually if it hits the dirt, it's a wild pitch. If it hits his glove, well, they gave him a wild pitch anyway. I thought he just boxed it. Hit his glove.
Line drive toward left field. That's going to be in for a base hit. Right off the base of the wall. Lee around third. He's going to score. Victorino aboard for the third time tonight. And the Phillies lead it 7-1. And they have reached double digits at base hits. And who would have thought that when this night began?
And that ball up a little bit higher and it's out of the ballpark. I mean, he hit a laser into left field. Again, been swinging the ball. Now look at this. As he jumps on the ball, it's out over the plate. And they like that, the way that it hit on the wall on the bottom. Gives Lee plenty of time just to trot on in. No throw. Double for Victorino.
And Chase, who had a 2-run home run back in the third. He is the batter now with a runner in scoring position. 7-1 Phillies. That ball moved late. Thought it was going to hit him easily.
I really don't think he has a good breaking ball at all. It's probably a work in progress. Fastball is his best pitch. You know, and he's thrown some off-speed pitches, but for the most part, pretty hittable with that fastball.
Well, that young lady is looking for one for Mama. Where is she sitting? I don't think she's anywhere where Chase can reach her.
I don't think those were the lower seats.
She's right down the left field line. Yeah, she's in foul territory, so.
Okay.
She doesn't care about the route. She just wants Chase to hit one for Mama. I mean, he's already hit one.
Well, maybe she wants to hit it twice.
She is right there.
Got good eyes.
hits one the opposite way, right in front of her. And Roberts, that turned out to be a tougher play than Ryan Roberts thought it would be. And the Phillies are retired here in the 6th. They do get another run, though, on the RBI by Shane Victorino.
And they jumped in a Cadillac tonight. Phillies with 3 home runs in this game. Chase Utley gave them a 2-0 lead with his 25th, and Ryan Howard, Jason Worth back-to-back in the 5th inning. And I don't know, Tom, but after a while you start to run out of things to say about Cliff Lee. This guy is just really good.
Well, he allowed that one hit, or he's allowed that one hit to Chad Tracy. That's it. I mean, he has been right around the strike zone as he begins the 7th inning. And he delivers a strike to Stephen Drew. I mean, think about his splits right now. 70 balls, 57 strikes.
As they use the expression nowadays, that's stupid.
Stupid good. 0-2. Stephen Drew had a sac fly. That's the only run. It was an unearned run.
That was a tough error on Pedro Feliz, too, because that ball hit the cutout and went straight down. But, you know, you want that first hit to be a no doubt about it. That could be one they could change later now that there's been another hit in the game, I think.
Well, because it's an unearned run, Lee's ERA in the National League keeps on going down.
Yeah. He didn't give up much.
Came in, it was 1.13. And with this out here, it's going to drop below 0.90. One away here in the top of the 7th inning. There you see his ERA. That was before the out. And there's been there have been a lot of easy outs tonight.
Well, they don't make a lot of real good contact on you. This guy could.
He's got him on strikes twice in this game. Reynolds now is 0 for 5 in the series. He pulls that one foul.
And Reynolds is one of those guys going to strike out a lot, and then he'll just hit one so far you can't believe it. Yeah, I mean, nice play there. And, oh, that's a nice gesture, huh?
I'm not sure if that gentleman had a choice. The woman in front of him pointed to the youngster right away.
Yeah. A lot of pressure down there on that guy.
Over the Phillies dugout, 0-2 the count to Reynolds. Well, these lucky fans are tonight's Citizen 7. They will each receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. To find a branch near you, visit citizensbank.com. 0-2 the count to Reynolds. Mark Reynolds out of the University of Virginia. They had a really good run this year in college baseball.
Well, they beat Strasburg. Last game that Steven Strasburg pitched was against Virginia, and they beat him like 4 or 5 to 1 in the regionals. And of course, Strasburg just signed with Washington the other day. We'll see when he makes it to the major leagues. He certainly will not have to worry about paying his bills.
Not have to get $15 million.
They pay a lot of people's bills.
And for the third time tonight, Cliff Lee has gotten Mark Reynolds.
Changeup.
7 strikeouts for Lee in the ball game.
Well, Tom mentioned that ridiculous walk strikeout ratio. He had ball strike ratio 19 and 63 now. I think we talked about him early on was the way he uses both sides of the plate. He's using his changeup tonight, but watch the way he'll come in on hitters. He really hasn't thrown that elevated fastball a whole lot tonight because he hasn't had to. You know, he's been getting them out just by using his changeup and cutter and slider. And of course his fastball. It sets everything up. Here's another changeup.
That's a heck of a line right there. He hasn't walked anybody. 7 strikeouts and 6 2/3, averaging a strikeout per inning of work. And a slow chopper, and it's 0-2 to Ryle.
They talked, Tommy, about the best pitch in baseball, strike one. When a hitter's 0-1, I don't know what but it's like under 200 you hit normally. 19 out of 23 batters tonight strike one. 1 hit shutout. Kind of all goes together.
Yep. The 0-2 pitch to Ryle, and it hit him. Fastball that just kept on coming inside. And it's only the 3rd base runner tonight for the Diamondbacks.
That's the first guy he's hit in the National League, but you would think he'd hit a batter once in a while because he pitches inside to right-handed hitters. That one just chased Ryle and hit him right on the elbow, and that one had to hurt.
He had 3 guys in the American League. So Ryle's aboard, still trying to get the feeling back in his arm. And here's Trent Olchin. Olchin was doing well down at AAA. He had 10 home runs and 61 runs batted in. 0 for 2 tonight. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. See the outs tonight for Cliff. Looking for his 21st. He's been pretty diverse. 5 ground outs, 8 pop outs, 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, they hit a few balls in the air off tonight, but nothing real. Well, 1 deep one. Worth had 1 on the track in right field.
Fastball right on the outside corner. It's 0-2.
Oh, this guy can paint. Who what a pitcher. And he got another hit, huh?
He got another hit. 4 for 12 now. 0-2 the count. A little high. How about the other thing about Lee? He came into tonight's game with 176 innings pitched. He's got over 180 innings this year.
Well, he's a workhorse. He likes it. You know, he looked like he doesn't even break a sweat, although tonight he's sweating. It's pretty brutal here tonight.
Called strike 3 right down the chute, 92 miles an hour. 8 strikeouts for Cliff Lee. 2 strikeouts in the inning, and he strands a base runner. Oh boy, he is dealing tonight. He's allowed just 1 hit, 3 base runners overall. Time now for the Dodge Stuff the Fans trivia quiz. Answer. Which former Philly hit the first home run in Arizona Diamondbacks history?
Well, I need a hint.
Well, the only thing I can give you is it'll give it away. The name of this person is prominent in tonight's ball game.
Oh,
yeah. See, I knew I'd give it away.
That
was too easy.
Thanks. Travis Lee.
Travis Lee is correct.
I don't get it without the hint, though. Thank you.
You got to log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. And thank you for playing Dodge Stump the Fans. I was trying to figure out how I could word that.
Should have said he was in the Kurt Schilling deal.
Well, who would you have said? Omar Dahl?
No, I'd have said Travis Lee because it was a homer, right? I mean, the idea.
Yes.
That was Figueroa, and it was all pitchers except for Lee.
Well, here's Ryan Howard. His 3-run home run kind of busted this baby open.
What a big hit that was, too. And the frustration on Snyder was unbelievable because he called for a high fastball. He wanted it elevated after he'd thrown him a really good splitter, too. And Dan Herron kind of threw it down. And Ryan Howard inside out of it, as he will do, and hit it pretty well to left center field and went out of the ballpark.
I thought it carried unbelievably. I thought maybe Wall.
That's tonight, Tom.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about at the beginning of the game. In BP, it was amazing the way they were flying out of here.
A swing and a miss, and it's 2-1. And here it is.
And watch the catcher. Watch Snyder. Right. Oh, I can't believe he threw it there. And there it goes into the petunias.
Into the petunias. 2-1 to Howard. With a low 3-1.
And it looked like the Phillies were about ready to have another one of those we're not going to get him in situations, because Herron made a great pitch to Utley. He got him hit a shallow fly ball to left field. And then he had 2 strikes on Ryan Howard, and then the Phillies do what they do best. They popped one.
He pops this one foul. Reynolds has a long run from shortstop, and he can't get there. He made a great effort, boy. He made a catch this year where he literally dove into the stands.
Yeah, well, he plays hard, this guy. You know, he's going to be a heck of a player if he isn't already. And of course, in that shift, he's way over near second base when that ball's popped up. And you know, 6-1 game. Pitchers really appreciate that effort right there. The guy tries 7-1 game. Guy tries that hard.
He's a little scraped up.
Yeah, look where he's playing. Look how far he had to go for that.
Yeah, he's kind of shaded toward the middle.
Yeah.
And Ryan's down on strikes. 90-mile-an-hour fastball. And 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
That's the pitch they wanted to throw him when he hit the 3-run home run.
Hey, if you're traveling and can't watch your Phillies on TV, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.TV. It's the ultimate baseball experience, featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. Catch those you missed on demand. For more details, visit Phillies.com, where baseball is always on. Well, that's it for Zavada. His night is done. He allowed a run on 2 hits. And the new pitcher will be Gutierrez here in the bottom of the 7th inning when we return. Arizona Diamondbacks. Clay Zavada finished up his outing by getting Ryan Howard on strikes.
Now watch the difference here between the home run ball right here, which was supposed to be up there, and it was in the middle of the plate. That goes out, and you see Snyder's reaction. Now Zavada throws it up above the hands, and that's the one that Ryan will chase, and very few hitters are going to hit that ball. And if you hit it, you're either going to pop it up or foul it off for the most part. So, you know, you saw him turn around and ask Chuck Merriweather if it was a strike, and I'm sure Merriweather said no.
Well, Juan Gutierrez in his 49th game, 3-3, a 4.42 ERA. Facing Jason Worth, who is 2 for 3 tonight. A home run, a single. He's lined out, and he takes a slider for strike. Jason is now just 3 hits away from reaching his career high in base hits for a season. Well, let's face it, I mean, he's shattering everything right now.
Well, this is the first time really getting a chance to be an everyday player like this, and they wondered what they would get from him. They're getting a heck of a year.
And Charlie knows, as everybody else does, he signed through 2010. Opposite way. That one's well hit. Backing up is Romero, and that one is gone. It's a 2-home run night for Jason Worth. One to dead center field, the other one the opposite way, and the Phillies now lead it 8-1.
That's a good swing, because this guy can fire it. 96 fastball, the pitch before that, and that looked like another fastball, and he just stayed on it. And hit a line drive into the first or second row. Let's see. Gutierrez can fire. That was a fastball. See how he kept a nice swing and into the second row, bouncing around out there. That got out in a hurry. And this guy can supply the octane. Here's a good look at this swing. Head down, fully extended, right on the ball. Oh boy. You want to go in and look at that one over and over. That's a really, really good piece of hitting.
27 home runs now for Jason Worth.
And not just because it was a home run, but just fundamentally, he did a lot right on that.
0-2 the count to Raul. Well, the 27 home runs now for Jason ties him with Raul for second on the team. 74 runs batted in. It's the second 2-home run game of this season.
At one point this year, the Phillies were really getting out homered by the opposition. Now it's amazing the turnaround. They're 168 to 144.
Third time tonight Raul's been struck out. And they've been swinging. I mean, they've been hitting home runs in bunches over the last couple weeks, too.
Right. I mean, they went into a little home run drought there for a while. That's one way to stay cool. Huh?
On a hot night, doing everything you can to stay cool.
Well,
it's an even hotter night for the Phillies offense.
Yeah, they're having a good ball game to watch too, because of the offense has really come alive with a long ball, and Cliff Lee is just fun to watch.
Pedro go? No, says Mike Muklinski.
Hot as it is out here, you look out after this half inning ends, Lee will be the first one out of the dugout. After the inning ends, he almost beats Ryan Howard back to the dugout. I think on a night like this, you know, you just back off a little bit.
Pedro's grounded his shortstop twice. He's flying out to center. 0 for 3. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. And again to the left side. Reynolds cuts it off, spins, and it's dug out by Tracy. The inning is over, but Jason Worth, he came a-calling once again. A solo home run. The Phillies lead it 8-1. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Jason Worth with his 7th career multi-home run game. One to straightaway center field, the other one the opposite way. And all this offense tonight is really back to pitching. And it's been a great performance by Cliff Lee. Look what he's done in his Phillies starts. 6 strikeouts, 9, 8, and 8. But look at the innings pitched. And he begins the 8th against Chris Snyder. There's no reason to think he can't pitch a complete game tonight.
It all depends on what they want him to do.
1-1 the count to Snyder, who is 0 for 2. He's popped to the catcher and he's flied to left.
So we're to get into serious trouble in this inning, or they just don't want him to pitch tonight. Well, his changeup tonight's been really good too. That's an outstanding changeup to these right-handed hitters. His arm speed is so good with it. Look at this. Watch it just kind of squirt out of his hand, and you see Snyder way out in front of him. I didn't realize he had such a good changeup. He showed that in that Colorado game when he was struggling with his other pitches, but he just used it more tonight because he seems fine with everything else.
And a lot of everything else.
It's just a pleasure to watch this, Tom. It's just different.
And he is picked up another strikeout on the inside corner. Snyder, he doesn't think so.
He thought it was low.
9 strikeouts now for Lee.
Lee is down around the knees too now. Snyder's been back there catching all night. And he thinks he knows Merriweather's strike zone. You know that it looks low where Bacco catches it. I don't know if it's above the knees or not. Usually you can tell from the side. That's a strike. That's amazing. You see it from the side like that. You know, it's so different from where the guy catches it. And that was knee high.
Well, here's Romero. Romero's 0 for 2. He's flied out twice. Hits one back toward the middle. Just the 2nd hit of the night for the Diamondbacks.
Ironically, they're both by left-handed hitters, too.
Well, if you're 30 years old or older, here's your chance of a lifetime. Phillies Fantasy Camp, the 20th to the 24th of January 2010 in Clearwater, Florida. You can get the baseball instruction from Mitch Williams, John Kruk, Greg Luzinski, Larry Anderson. Sarge will be there as well. Plus a fantasy game at Legends, against Legends at Bright House Field. Call 610-520-3400. Hurry, space is limited. Here's Chad Tracy. And the count 0-1 to Tracy.
He got the first hit off Cliff Lee as a pinch hitter and stayed in the game.
Like he just flicked it right off the end of the bat.
Well, Lee is not what you would call a nasty left-hander. You know, where left-handed hitters would necessarily pull off. I don't think they're real, overly comfortable, but they're, a lot of left-handers make left-handed hitters uncomfortable. And plus he works on that third base side of the rubber, so they see it a little bit.
Romero not being held on, with the Phillies leading it by 7. And Tracy is down on strikes. That is a season high 10 strikeouts for Cliff Lee.
Well, he come inside there.
91 miles an hour with that fastball.
Yeah, on this hot night, pitch number 97. He's away, and then zip right on the inside corner. This guy can really use the corners.
And now back to the top of the order. Ryan Roberts 0 for 3. He has scored the only run. Pulls that one to third. Backhanded by Feliz. And Cliff Lee is through 8 innings. Boy, his first 4 starts have been something to behold for Phillies fans. He's got a 7-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. By your local Chevy dealers and by AT&T. Your world delivered. Oh, sold-out crowd tonight. 52nd sellout of the year. And they have watched a dandy spun by Cliff Lee. Lee so far has allowed just 1 run over 8 innings. Blaine Boyer is the new pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The former Atlanta Brave. Phillies have seen him a lot over the years. And he will start the bottom of the 8th inning against Paul Bacco. Cliff Lee, who is out in the on-deck circle. At the top of the order, Chan-Ho Park, the cleanly shaven Chan-Ho Park, is loosening in the pen.
Well, they haven't needed him for a while. He pitched great in that game in Chicago last week. Really saved them when they needed innings. And then he needed a few days off. And then the starters have been so good, they really haven't used him that much. Or they haven't used him, period.
That's kind of the story of the bullpen, except for Jamie last night.
Yeah. Oh.
And it's 0-2. Bacco tonight 1 for 3. And more importantly than anything else, he has done a heck of a job behind the plate.
Well, he's caught every game for Cliff Lee so far, and they've worked very well together. What an ovation he's going to get as he comes up after Bacco, huh?
Mentioned Blaine Boyer has seen the Phillies a lot during his career. This is his 13th game against the Phillies. His numbers not so good. He's got an ERA of nearly 14.
Yeah, they've hit him around, but he's a good arm too. He's one of those guys that throws hard.
1-2 the count. Chuck Merriweather giving Chris Snyder a little bit of a breather.
It's tough back there for those guys wearing the masks tonight, that's for sure. Change up, down. Must have gotten him on the hand, or the heel.
Well, Bacco stays alive. And the count remains 1-2. Wheels, it's not superstition, but he just feels lucky with Bacco behind the plate.
That's what Chuck said, huh? Well, he got lucky again tonight, it looks like.
Well, if Luck is a Cy Young Award winner that's throwing like he's a Cy Young Award winner, then I think everybody will take it.
Well, you know, when Ruben Amaro made this deal, you know, everybody thought the Phillies, you know, there's some disappointment about not getting Halladay. And, you know, and it was, you get to Cliff Lee, trying to think, well, that's not too bad. It's not a booby prize. It was a heck of a trade, and now you look at it and you go, wow, that's a great deal.
Bacco's down on strike, swinging 1 away, and here comes Phillies pitcher Cliff Lee. Well, he used to draw really well in Cleveland. I'm sure that he's gotten responses before, but I'm not sure if you can duplicate a response like this.
A new star is born.
0-1 the count to Lee, who's got a couple hits tonight. I should say has a hit tonight.
Look at him run.
Well, maybe he does have a couple hits. He does. An infield single. He threads it right past the third base bag.
And he was flying. Look at him laugh. He was flying down that line, too. As soon as he hit that, he thought, I got me a base hit.
He's 5 for 13.
Look at his teammates. They love this guy. Well, why wouldn't they? Wouldn't he fit in right away, too? Here it goes down the line. I mean, it's right at the bag. Boink. Right off the bag. Base hit. He really doesn't need to be on the bases right now on a night like this. Going to try and pitch a complete game. Gee.
Well, he's loose.
Oh, yeah. He obviously will not hold him on here.
Jimmy's 1 for 4. He doubled and scored back to the 5th. See Tracy playing behind Cliff. 1-0 the count to J-Roll. Towards shortstop, could be 2. Drew to second for 1. It is a double play. 6, 4, and 3, and all that it's left is to watch Cliff Lee try to finish this baby off and do so with a 7-run lead. Diamondbacks. Dan Herron started for the D-backs. He went 5, and he allowed 6 runs. Phillies have since tacked on 2 more. Cliff Lee, well, he's got 8 so far. He's got 10 strikeouts. His career high is 11. That was last year against the Giants. And he's allowed only 2 hits and 1 unearned run so far tonight.
It looked like he was actually breathing a little bit heavy on his way back to to the mound. At least he peeled off on that ball Jimmy Rollins hit, and he didn't try to go into second base. That was hit so hard there was no chance he was going to break up a double play.
Well, tonight on Sports Night after the ball game, Amy Fadul has post-game reaction about Cliff Lee's performance and the Phillies offense. Plus, Derek Gunn has the latest as the Eagles get set for a preseason matchup in Indy against the Peyton Manning and the Colts. All the news Phillies fans need to know after the game, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Well, we begin the top of the 9th inning. Josh Weitzel will pinch hit for the Diamondbacks. Cliff Lee trying for his 2nd complete game in a Phillies uniform. His first one came in his first outing. And he delivers a pitch outside. It's 1-0. Weitzel hitting 198.
Phillies have Chad Durbin up in the bullpen just in case.
In the air to right field. It's pretty deep, but it looks like the ballpark's going to keep it. And Jason Worth puts it away for out number 1. Well, if you want to see this performance by Cliff Lee, including his 2nd multi-hit game of his career, a little encore tonight at 10:30, and tomorrow at 6 a.m. on the Comcast Network.
Even 100 pitches, and you got to be kidding me. 23 balls, 77 strikes.
That's really impressive.
That's unheard of.
Well, here's Stephen Drew, who has got a sac fly. Toward left center field, Ibanez on the run into the alleyway, makes the grab, 2 away.
Well, he needs this.
Yeah,
What's that, 3 pitches?
Yep. With a whole lot of sweat, Cliff Lee will watch as this crowd comes to its feet. His first complete game in a Phillies uniform came in San Francisco. That was only 3 starts ago. I should say 4. And here he goes, trying for the final out here. Facing Mark Reynolds. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And a big hack and a miss, and the count is 0-1.
He's just consistently around 90, 91, a couple 92s. With a lot of movement. Still the same velocity in the 9th inning.
0-2 the count. He's got 11 complete games for his career. He needs 1 strike. That's right, 1 out. And they'll rev up one more time.
That's one of the, he had a little adrenaline rush there. That's one of the few
did.
pitches you'll see this guy overthrow. It was like he really wanted to get it over with and just threw a high fastball.
Just one more, Cliff. 2-2 the count to Reynolds. Two and two the count to Mark Reynolds. Got him. Change up, swung on and missed. It's the 4th time Reynolds has gone down swinging. He ties his career high in strikeouts with 11. It's his 12th career complete game. And you can take a breath now, Cliff Lee. Last 7 starts, he's 7-0 with 4 complete games. 2 in a Phillies uniform.